Good morning, baby girl. It's August 11th, 2020, and your papa's on his way to work. I get to drive into Dickinson and then all the way to the other side of Houston to Montgomery for another house. It'll be a long day of driving, so that's always fun. Excuse me, dad's gross. It's just a part of your life. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. Your mom's been hounding me to not be so gross. She ain't even hounding me. I need to be less gross. I'm sorry. I'm a man. I do disgusting things. It's part of life. So anyway, heading up to Dickinson now and then Montgomery later. Wanted to leave you a little note and share with you just how amazingly cute and precious that you are. This morning you decided it would be a great day to wake up at like 5:30, I think. But because you were so sweet about it, we all woke up early with the Isabelita. And she's all sweet and cute and cuddly. And this morning she wanted to be all hugging and touching on Papa, which I love. You haven't quite been all kinds of about Papa lately. Mama's keeping you alive and you know it, and now it's time to start developing that trust between you and me. You know Papa can keep you alive. It's weird. Your mama calls me dramatic when I say stuff like that, but I don't think it's dramatic. I think it's like a purely rational animal instinct kind of thing. It's not dramatic. The fact of the matter is, the first 6 months of your life, your mom kept you alive. Period. End of story. She kept you alive. And I was just kind of there to, give mom a break whenever, you would tolerate it. But we're getting to the point now where it's time for you and me to develop the relationship where you understand that Papa's keeping you alive too. So we're gonna start having little daddy-daughter day adventures. It'll be fun. We'll go for walks and all kinds of good stuff. Get to do some of the things like Papa did when I was a kid, hopefully. Anyway, so today let's have a quick little chit chat about who you are. So we live in a world that is crazy right now. It's completely crazy right now. And a lot of the things that are driving this craziness is the fact that nobody seems to be able to get on the same page with the same definitions of words. So there's one of these rules of life that I like to follow, and it's called being precise with your language. And what that basically means is two things. First of all, make sure that the words that you're using are true, honest, and very, very clear. Okay? If you start convoluting the truth or start going back on your promises, then you're not being precise with your word. And your word is something that is cherished. Every promise that you make is something that you need to, that's more important than any contract that you sign on paper. All that stuff's enforceable by law, right? But the promises that you make in a word of mouth agreement are things that are not enforceable by law, but they're enforceable by your character, your personality, and your integrity. So I think it's very, very important that you understand and appreciate exactly how important it is to make sure that you're always holding true to the things that you say. People people always believe you when you're willing to sign a dotted line, but when it comes down to every single day of your life, whether or not people believe you and trust you and have faith in you is going to be about whether or not you consistently prove that you are worth their trust. And the only way you can do that is by always making sure that you maintain honesty and follow through on your promises. It's not always a pleasant experience. There's going to be some times in your life where you promise things that you don't really want to do, or you didn't realize were going to be as complicated at the time you made the promise as they turned out to be when you were doing the action. That doesn't make it any less important for you to follow through and do what is right. And the right thing to do is what you said you would do. So make sure that you're always being clear and concise when you're talking to people, especially when you're making promises, and always willing to follow up and follow through to achieve those goals. The other part of it is making sure that you have a very clearly defined definition of what you're trying to achieve with the words that you say, right? So one of the problems that we have right now is this battle between masculine and feminine in American society. It's demonstrating itself through this transgenderness where people are determining that they were created wrong and that they are a man who should have been a woman, and they feel that it's within their authority to go ahead and pursue the biological change to achieve what they mentally believe. I'm not gonna lie to you, Isabella. I feel like that's a mental illness. Okay, I know there's three things in life that you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose whether you're a boy or a girl. You don't get to choose who your parents and family are, and you don't get to choose where you were born. Those things are all vastly out of your control. Your choice out of those things is to do the best that you can with what you have, right? I don't believe that you have the authority or capacity to determine that God was wrong when he created you. I know God wasn't wrong when he created you. I know he nailed that one. He broke the mold. There ain't no two Isabellas anywhere else on the earth. You might run into several other, people with the name Isabella, but they're not like you. You are a completely unique individual, and you are a female with feminine qualities, and those feminine qualities are specifically made for you to have and for me and other men to cherish and honor, because in your feminine role you have the capacity to create life, to nurture life, to be excellent at relationships, to be caring about the people around you. If this world was run by nothing but men, it'd be nothing but war zones all the time, because we don't give a damn about other people that much. Okay, we care about things, and we care about creation of buildings and roads and cars and all this other stuff that men have got this weird talent for. And that's primarily because when God created men, he decided that men were going to toil in the soil and men would nurture the earth. And I believe there's a lot of truth in that. And I also believe that the best way for you to get close to God and truly appreciate what God's capacity for love and kindness is, and capacity for creation, and capacity for justice, is by finding your masculine half. Me and your mama are very, very unfortunate. I'm your mama's masculine half. She's my feminine half. And because of that, we have a wonderful relationship that we genuinely, I think, almost unintentionally managed to have in God's image of what a relationship should be. We're a partnership. Me and your mama are a team, and we might be fighting in the whole wide world, but we're not fighting each other. We're in this together. She is my better half as far as being able to handle difficult person to person interactions and be good with relationships. I'm not. I'm just not. I've tried, I've practiced, I've gone through a lot of training and conflict resolution. If I really wanted to, I could probably do it a lot better than I want to, than what I do, but it's not my passion. Your mom is excellent in it. And that's great because she gives me excellent advice on how to handle difficult situations when I need it. And I fix broken stuff. I fix broken things around the house. That's the way it works. It works out excellent for us. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's exactly like you'll find yourself a man. I mean, I hope you do, because then you get to procreate, and then we get to have little grandbabies, and you get to experience the joy and happiness that comes with raising your own child and everything. But hell, if you end up being a lesbian, or and you find yourself another woman that just fills the bill for you, I am absolutely certain that if that's the choice that you want to make with your life, that the only, partner that you'll ever find is going to have the masculine qualities that fulfill you, that bring you another level of fulfillment, that challenge you in a way that you didn't anticipate, and that creates an opportunity for you to be better every day. Now, that said, this is about language, right? So, whenever we're having these conversations about masculinity and femininity, especially in today's society where those two roles have been washed over in favor of, I don't know, equality, it seems that we've forgotten the beautiful parts of the differences between masculinity and femininity that make them amazing. Women and men are not equal. Just saying that. Women and men are not equal. That's just the way it is. Okay? A woman can't lift 50 pounds and carry it with them all day long. They're not physically made for that. A man cannot get pregnant and give birth to a child. We're not made for that. That's just the way it is. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that mental fortitude is unequal. That's not true at all. Men and women have, and in many cases, women are much better at, intellectual practices. It's just the truth. Women tend to learn better. Women have more patience and focus for education than men do. And as a general rule, you can count on masculine roles being the shitheads in your class that are driving everybody crazy and distracting you all from the goal that you're trying to achieve. Because as a man myself, I'll own up to the fact that I didn't pay attention to school, and most of that is because I was preoccupied with women and with pushing my own limits to discover my own masculine strength. Whereas women are pushing their limits to discover their nurturing strength and where their value as a woman is, right? And that's what the beautiful part about the difference between men and women. We're not equal. We're just not. There's some things that men are going to excel at, and then there's many things that women are going to excel at, but they're different. And they're different for a very, very, very clear reason, and it's because without one another, we'll all kill each ourselves. Your mama will tell you most women hate each other. I'll tell you most men are looking at each other as whether or not we can fight them. So basically, when a man looks at another man, it basically accumulates to this. Okay, can I beat him in a fight? Okay. Do I have to fight him? Does he have something that I want? Can I get it from him? I mean, men are always looking at each other. It's just like basically how alpha dogs look at each other. Like, hey, this guy wants something. I'm trying. This guy wants something. We're like, how do I prevent him from taking it from me? And how do I make sure I get what he's got? Women, on the other hand, tend to look at each other as competition for the prominent men, first of all. That's a natural instinct that is procreationally driven, which you can't fight it, but it is what it is. Women are always in search of the most attractive man who has the best genes and the highest capacity for providing support and structure for the children that she wants to procreate and give to the world. So when they're looking at other women, it's still competition, but it's less competition over things and more competition over people, right? Men compete over things, women compete over people. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to have lots of male and female friends, but even though we're all supposedly higher consciousness critters, we're also very, very animalistically based, and those instincts still run very deep. That's why people are scared of the dark. That's why people are scared of snakes and bats and things that have all, historically created death from ambush positions. But that doesn't make this transgender biological change right. In my opinion, I think that being arrogant enough to determine that God was wrong when he created you demonstrates an ignorance to what's actually going on here on this planet Earth that is almost insurmountable. And right now we're, living through a perfect example of that, where we have violence all over the country from groups of people who literally have no leadership and cannot come up with a clear and concise list of demands that they're trying to achieve to stop more violence. They're just violence. It's just pure violence. And a lot of that is just lost children who don't have a good value system that makes sense to them, and they're trying to develop their own value system based on the confusing shit that they've learned from their parents, then from high school, now into college. They don't have any clear idea. Hell, it doesn't take people until they're like in their mid to late 20s to really truly understand the values that they have, the values that are important to them and that they want to represent to the world. And that's mostly just because it takes experience. You have to get burned, you have to get cheated, you have to get hurt, you have to be taken advantage of to truly appreciate the things that are important to you and what you will and will not tolerate. And I'm, speaking from relatively recent experience when I say this, I didn't know who were threats. I didn't know what my values were to identify those threats, and I didn't actually know where I stood in the ecology of this entire societal structure. And in that sense, I decided that it would be in my best interest to explore the world and explore my limits and push myself and try things that I was afraid to do, and which to me and in my position was an excellent outlet for my lost man syndrome, basically. I mean, I didn't have any parents from the time I was basically 16 until that was it. I didn't have parents. My mom was not your grandmother. My mom was not a role model or caretaker of her children at all, and my dad died. So I was doing this without any kind of real mentorship or guidance, and that required lots and lots and lots of mistakes and lots and lots and lots of effort and lots of triumph and failures and tears and blood and all kinds of stuff. But it wasn't until I was 28 when I started to really truly find my own value system in my own heart and soul. Since then, I've been able to, accomplish quite a bit, but it's only because of an unwavering knowledge of what I think and what I believe to be right and wrong. And that only came after years of experience as an adult in the real world, or as a semi-adult. You're not really an adult until you're 30, but as a semi-adult with the actual capacity to vote and drink and drive and all these other things that come with being an adult. But it is what it is. So I believe that right now we're just dealing with a whole lot of people that are lost children that don't realize that they are lost children, trying to find a solution or trying to find a place to put their hate and anger and blame somebody. And a lot of this is coming from that just genuine confusion about what is the role of masculinity and femininity, what is the role of a man, what is the role of a female, and this atheistic, agnostic, secular nonsense that has this idea that there is no grand purpose to it all. That's what it appears to be coming from, is that there's just no grand purpose to all of this struggle and frustration and all these things that we go and suffer through every day to achieve the happiness that we're having. And that's also not true. There is a great purpose to this all. This is when, my opinion, Papa, this is your tryout. This is the opportunity as a angelic soul to live the experience of freedom and free will, so that when it's all over, you've either earned your spot in heaven to sit next to the throne and live in an eternal happiness and joy and gratitude, or to suffer through the constant reminders of the things that you failed. And, there's no way to go about this without pain. There's no easy way through life. There's just not. The only time that you'll find any kind of genuine joy and genuine happiness in your life is when there are moments when you've voluntarily taken on additional responsibility and stress that ultimately provide an avenue for you to achieve your goals and grant happiness, or help other people out in a way that is unique to you, and you knowing that you achieved it and that you accomplished it and that you were the one that worked and fought and sacrificed to make it a possibility. So, long chat. I try to make sure that whenever I'm having these conversations with you, that I'm providing you with something that's useful, to be honest with you. So, one of the things about my dad dying is that there's a lot of things I wish I'd learned from him that I didn't. And in the recent weeks, my grandma sent me a journal of his from, years. I think it covered, like, shoot, he started writing in it in 1997. I think he stopped in 2015, right before he died. So, I mean, it was like 20 years in this journal. And I realized in all that 20 years in his journal, there was very little in there that was actually, very insightful or, you know, actually useful to me as an adult. Honestly, a lot of it was just the venting of frustrations of things that upset him, or, work related stuff, or just things that honestly weren't they were never meant to. I wasn't supposed to be his audience for that journal, obviously, but either way, the information that he put into that journal wasn't necessarily enlightening. It wasn't very helpful as far as how do you manage being a human being in this world, in any of those things. So, I wish I had some, but maybe my father didn't have the capacity to be that person. And as I read through those journals, that's kind of what I understand, is he just didn't have the capacity to be that person. So hopefully these videos will fulfill that for you and give you an opportunity to, communicate with me in a unique way, and something that you'll be able to cherish and rely on after I'm gone. So Papa's getting ready to go to work now. I love you. I'm absolutely adore everything about you and every day with you. And the same for your mama. Your mama is doing an amazing job just all day with a baby girl, having patience, kindness, love, compassion, and constantly nurturing her little baby girl to make sure that you're just the happiest, sweetest little thing is an amazing blessing for both yours and mine life. So I love you. I hope you are having a wonderful day and that you feel blessed, happy, and full of joy.